cold heart of the 12th century steppe, a legend began in suffering. Mongolia was a land torn by warring clans and unforgiving survival. Temujin entered the world with a blood clot in his fist, an omen of destiny. But fate struck its first blow during a journey with his father, Yasuge. Rival Tatars poisoned Yasuge, ending Temujin's childhood in an instant. With his father gone, security vanished and danger closed in. His clan abandoned them, leaving the family alone on the steppe. No shelter, no allies, only brutal winds carving men into beasts. Temujin's family survived on roots, berries, and whatever the land allowed. Hunger hollowed their faces, cold tightened their bones. Yet in this suffering, something iron was forged inside him. He learned that weakness meant death, and trust could destroy you. Only the wolves and the eternal wind kept him company. Nights were long, and survival was a battle fought every hour. The abandoned boy began shaping himself into a weapon. He carved strength from pain and will from hunger. Every step taught him a truth: no one would save him. If he wished to rise, he had to fight for every breath. The steppe tried to break him, but only sharpened his resolve. And thus, the boy abandoned by all began forging his destiny. Exile was not the end of Temujin's suffering, only the beginning. The clans feared the boy who carried a noble bloodline. One night, the Taichud came for him like a storm. They bound him in a humiliating wooden collar, the mark of a slave. The boy who should have led warriors now lived as a prisoner. Forced into labor, he endured humiliation meant to break him. But through the suffering, Temujin watched, studied, learned. He memorized every weakness, every moment of opportunity. And then, fate opened a door. A guard looked away for just a heartbeat. Temujin ran for his life into the frozen dark. He hid in icy riverbeds as his hunters searched the night. Warriors scoured the land, but found nothing. A brave family hid him, risking death to protect a hunted boy. Their loyalty taught Temujin a lesson he never forgot. Loyalty, he realized, was rarer than fear. He returned to his family, not as a victim, but as a survivor. And there, he broke the last symbol of his enslavement. A new conviction burned inside him: never again. No man would ever place a collar on Temujin's neck again. With freedom regained, Temujin began to rise again. He trained his body, sharpening his instincts. Every tool he made brought him one step closer to power. But strength alone wasn't enough to reclaim his destiny. He needed allies, bonds stronger than blood. So he sought out those who once stood with him. Brothers reunited, stronger than time. They shared stories, dreams, and a vision of unity. Temujin spoke of a world where strength served justice. Together, they pledged loyalty, not to a clan, but to a man. Followers gathered, drawn by his courage. He taught them discipline and the art of war. Every warrior learned to ride like wind and strike like fire. Temujin forged them into a single, unstoppable force. He was no longer a hunted boy. He was becoming a leader of warriors. But power attracts enemies, and danger grew near. Rival clans watched his rise with fear. Temujin knew conflict was inevitable, and he welcomed it, for destiny favored the bold. But Temujin's rise threatened those who feared change. Old rivals watched him with growing hatred. They wanted him gone, erased forever. So they united against him, forming a deadly alliance. When Temujin heard the news, he did not flinch. He knew this was the moment destiny had prepared him for. His warriors gathered, loyal and unbreakable. They were ready to follow him into the storm. two forces met on the open steppe. The world held its breath. Then Temujin struck first. The steppe exploded into war. Temujin fought with fury, unmatched by any warrior. He faced the enemy's strongest with no fear. Strength met strategy, and Temujin dominated. The enemy's courage shattered. Temujin's men saw victory in his shadow. But victory always carries a heavy cost. Temujin stood silent, knowing greater wars awaited. This was only the beginning of his unstoppable ascent.
The forest erupted into chaos, every strike echoing death. Every defense was life or death. The hunters struck with silent precision. Leif led with courage, breaking the enemy line. Every heartbeat pounded with the fury of battle. The battle raged with relentless ferocity. The hunters struck from shadows, relentless and deadly. Every strike was precise, every movement deadly. The forest became a maelstrom of blood, snow, and fury. Every strike carried the weight of survival.
In a united Mongolia, Genghis Khan forged an unstoppable war machine. His soldiers could ride for days without rest, fueled by iron discipline. Each warrior carried weapons crafted for speed, accuracy, and survival. With multiple mounts, their speed became unmatched across continents. Their formations moved like a single living organism. A relay of riders carried messages faster than any army could march. The Mongols survived on the bare minimum, hardened by the steppe. Training forged them into the most disciplined army on earth. Genghis enforced loyalty with ruthless and absolute authority. Desertion meant death, but loyalty meant honor and reward. His armies mastered deception, speed, and psychological warfare. Scouts studied enemy movements long before battle began. Whispers of the Mongols spread terror long before they arrived. Their siege weapons matched and often surpassed civilized empires. Once Genghis chose a target, the assault was swift and merciless. Enemies fell under waves of coordinated strikes and deception. The wolf banner symbolized power feared across continents. Civilizations crumbled before the fury of his expanding empire. With Mongolia unified, Genghis looked outward to the great empires. To him, conquest was not ambition, it was destiny. The Mongol armies swept across Asia like a living storm. The mighty Jin dynasty crumbled before the relentless assault. The Tangut Shah fell after repeated betrayals that sealed their fate. In Khwarezm, paranoia drove a governor to kill Mongol merchants. The Shah humiliated Genghis Khan's envoys, a fatal mistake. The wrath that followed would be apocalyptic. Genghis unleashed a multi-pronged invasion across Central Asia. Cities like Bukhara fell one after another under Mongol precision. Samarkand's defenses collapsed beneath waves of coordinated fire. The Mongols mastered siege warfare far from their nomadic roots. They perfected deception, feigned retreats that lured enemies to ruin. Urgench resisted fiercely, but the encirclement was absolute. Some cities surrendered instantly, driven by sheer terror. Others fought to the last breath, only to be overwhelmed. Their commanders executed maneuvers still studied by historians today. Scorched earth strategies left entire kingdoms broken. Generals like Subutai became legends, turning chaos into victory. Nishapur fell in devastation unmatched by any empire before. Under the Black Banner, warriors who were once starving orphans became conquerors. Genghis Khan wasn't just building an empire, he was shaping a world ruled by fear. By the time Genghis Khan died in 1227, the world had been rewritten. From Korea to the Caspian Sea, his empire stretched farther than imagination. He protected trade routes and made the world more connected than ever before. Under his rule, standardized laws unified diverse cultures. The Pax Mongolica allowed merchants and scholars to cross continents freely. Even Marco Polo would journey safely through his empire. His descendants extended his empire into the Golden Horde. Others built the Yuan dynasty in China, shaping its future for generations. In Persia, the Ayel Khanate rose, blending cultures and traditions. The Chagatai Khanate strengthened commerce across Central Asia. But his greatest legacy was not the land he conquered. It was the story he embodied, of a boy abandoned to die, a child forged in suffering and relentless ambition, a family that survived on almost nothing, a boy who learned the world owed him nothing. Yet he carved his destiny from the unforgiving earth. He rose to command kings and reshape civilizations. His legacy echoed across centuries. Under the eternal blue sky, the name Temujin became legend, and the world has never forgotten him.